Cold used to be an enemy you respected, not something you muted with a thermostat, but something you planned for like a rival. And, long before memory foam and electric blankets entered the scene, folks figured out a way to sleep warmer using nothing more than wool, air, and discipline. This wasn't comfort marketing. This was survival knowledge. And once you understand it, well, modern bedding starts to look a little lazy. This is Survival History Unfiltered, and today we're uncovering the old blanket arrangement that kept people alive through winters that would laugh at your duvet. For most of history, winter wasn't a season you endured politely. It was a test. Cabins leaked wind, walls sweated frost, firewood ran low. And yet, people slept through nights so cold that water froze inside the room. They didn't do it by piling on one thick blanket and hoping for the best. They did it with layers, specific layers, in a specific order. This wasn't guesswork. It was learned through long nights, frozen toes, and, the quiet math of heat loss. Folks noticed what worked. They kept it. What didn't work got people sick or dead. Modern bedding sells the idea that thicker means warmer. One heavy comforter. One solution. But insulation doesn't work that way. Warmth doesn't come from the blanket itself. It comes from your body. The blanket's job is to trap the heat you produce and stop it from escaping. One thick blanket compresses under its own weight. When it compresses, it squeezes out the air. And, air is the real insulator. Old-timers didn't chase thickness. They chased trapped air. Here's the secret they understood without scientific words. Multiple thinner blankets create layers of air between them. Each layer slows heat loss. Stack them correctly, and you build a wall of still air around your body. Wool blankets were king for this. Not soft, not fancy, but springy. Wool fibers resist compression, which means they keep air pockets even when weight presses down. Cotton sheets were used but never trusted alone. Cotton goes flat. Wool holds shape. This is the difference between surviving the night and shivering until dawn. This is where it gets specific. The old arrangement started with a mattress that was already insulated. Straw, hay, or later horsehair. Cold from below was deadly, so people layered protection under them as carefully as above. First came a simple sheet or thin blanket directly against the body. Not for warmth, but for moisture control. Sweat kills heat faster than cold air. All right, so next came one wool blanket, pulled snug but not too tight. This was the first heat trap, you see. Then another wool blanket was laid, this time slightly looser. Not tucked aggressively, mind you. Just let it puff a bit. And then, sometimes a third layer was added. A bit heavier, but only on top. The weight was always added last, never first. The final layer was often a coverlet or quilt. Not really for insulation, but more to protect the wool from dirt and those pesky sparks from the fire. Each layer had a job. None were wasted. People today love to tuck blankets tight around their feet. Old sleepers avoided that. Tight tucking compresses layers. Compression kills air pockets. Air pockets are warmth. Feet were often left with extra room. Some folks even placed a folded blanket crosswise at the foot of the bed, just to create a pocket of warm air without any pressure. It looks sloppy by modern standards, yeah, but well, it worked. Another truth, I guess, that modern life just avoids. People slept together, not for romance, but for heat. Body heat multiplies, Two people under layered blankets create a warmer microclimate than one person ever could. Families knew this. Inns relied on it. Soldiers depended on it. Even animals were sometimes brought inside during extreme cold. Heat was a resource, and it wasn't wasted. Memory foam traps heat but also traps moisture. Synthetic fills, well, they flatten over time. And electric blankets? They fail when the power does, plain and simple. The old blanket arrangement, it just works without technology. No cords, no switches, and no replacement cycles to worry about. It adapts. That's the beauty of it. You just add a layer when it's colder, or remove one when it's not. And if you repair a wool blanket, it can last for decades. These days, modern bedding tries to do everything with just one product. But, old bedding worked as a whole system. This wasn't just about blankets, not at all. It was really about habits. Folks would eat before bed to help fuel their body heat. They'd wear sleep caps to keep from losing warmth through their heads. And, well, they'd warm up stones by the fire, wrap them in cloth, and tuck them at the foot of the bed. Every detail mattered. Warmth was planned, not assumed. Energy costs rise. Power grids fail. Emergencies don't ask if you're comfortable. Understanding how to sleep warm with simple materials is survival knowledge hiding in plain sight. This isn't nostalgia. It's practical history. The kind that keeps you alive when modern solutions disappear. The old way still works, doesn't it? Sometimes, the tried and true methods are just what we need. It's funny how often we forget that, but, well, here we are, reminded once again. Try it yourself. Layer thinner blankets instead of one thick one. Use wool if you can. Don't crush the layers. Let air do the work. You'll feel the difference before midnight. History already solved this problem. We just forgot to listen. If you value these forgotten skills and the hard-earned wisdom of the past, make sure you subscribe to Survival History Unfiltered. Share this episode with someone who thinks comfort only comes from technology. Because the old ways didn't just survive history. They mastered it. Survival History Unfiltered.